Good morning. Thank you for joining us for our morning motivation, presented by the FBC Ministerial staff.
My name is Minister Terry Scott, coming here with some words of encouragement. I want to talk to you about the source of all resources. There are many resources in the world, but the worldly resources we have are limited in its ability to supply. Resources can run out and then we have to replenish them. According to Webster, source is anything or place from which something comes, arises, or is obtained. Origin. Resource is a source of supply, support, or aid, especially one that can be readily drawn upon when needed. Although we go to work and have businesses, but in reality, God is our source. Whatever streams of income you have are merely resources provided by God, your one true source. And if God is your source, He would provide for you whether the economy is good or not. So when we feel like we have nothing left, it's time to go to the source and draw from it what we need until we are once again filled, sparkling, and overflowing. It's really possible to be joyful and enthusiastic when everything around us is sorrowful and depressed. Most people think they have to be their own source when something happens. They've been taught to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and move on through their own efforts. That sounds fine until we get to the self-effort part. We all have human limitations, and eventually we'll find that God is our never-ending source for whatever we are in need of or in short supply of. Bank account balances rise and fall. The economy goes up and down. Stock markets can go bull or bear. It doesn't matter. Everything comes from God. Everything exists by His power, and everything is intended for His glory. Romans 11, verse 36. Whether you believe it or not, God is your source, the perfect and on-time source for everything you could ever need or want. But you have to receive Him as your one and only source by faith. Your job shouldn't be your security. God is the source of everything we need, physical, material, emotional, and spiritual. Philippians 4, verse 19. By asking Him to provide our basic necessities, we're acknowledging our complete dependence upon Him and trusting in His sufficient provision for each day. Believers are God's resources for His use. Jesus in Matthew 4, verses 19 through 20. And He saith unto them, Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And they straightway left their nets and followed Him. Jesus was letting the disciples know that God, the source, wanted to use them as a resource for the lost. Their job was to point them to God. Now, someone once said that we're called to be thermostat Christians rather than thermometer Christians. In other words, we are the ones who should decide what the surrounding temperature is, thermostats, rather than just reflecting it, thermometers. We can all be thermostats. People and circumstances should not set the dial of our behavior. He is all the love we so need, all the joy that will motivate and renew us, and the needed strength that will carry us through each day. Worldly resources and even good resources like church, being with like-minded believers, all of those things are resources that the main source, God, provides, but as believers, we have a relationship with God that when the resources are not there or run out, or whatever reason we can no longer draw from those resources, it is because of our relationship with God. A believer can go to the main source and bypass all other resources. By coming to Jesus every day, you draw from the source that supplied all resources. So I encourage you today, try Jesus. He is the source that has unlimited resources, and if you continue to trust and live for Him, He will supply your every need. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you for joining us for another moment of inspiration. It is our prayer that you have been motivated, encouraged, and inspired by today's word.